Alderman, if I could have a motion to review the agenda to set it.
I make a motion to review the agenda.
Okay, I've got a motion by Alderman Cates. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, was that Vice Mayor?
Alderman Rector. I think it was Alderman Rector.
Oh, thank you, sir, Alderman Rector. Okay, gentlemen, I would ask that we do one thing under new business. There's an item, motion for voting the amending current form of government. We have been indicated that we need to do a resolution on that, so I would ask that you remove that new item and add resolution 2023 in its place. And open it up if there is anything else the Alderman would like to adjust on the agenda.
What's up?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to revise or write the agenda, please?
So move resolution 2023.
Okay, so I've got a motion to amend the agenda by.
They're just trying to figure out this digital thing.
If I could ask everyone to mute their phone except for the Alderman right now, please. So do I have a second to amend the agenda?
I second that motion, Mayor.
Okay, so I've got a second by Vice Mayor Sutton. All in favor of amending the agenda, signify by saying aye. Okay, I think I heard 4, so if I'm going to call it unanimous. If not, please correct me. Okay, so can I have all in favor of accepting the amended agenda, signify by saying aye. Okay, we do have the agenda set. Next item would be the reading and correction of the minutes. Can I have a motion to review for approval the minutes from the regular March 19th meeting?
Motion to review.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by, I believe that was Alderman Cates. Any discussion on the minutes?
Call for a vote.
All in favor accepting the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye. Okay, so we will receive those minutes, accept them as presented. Next would be the minutes from the Beer Board meeting. I have a motion to review for approval the minutes from the March 19th Beer Board meeting.
Motion to hear motion.
Got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I've got a second. Any discussion on the minutes from the Beer Board meeting?
Mayor, can I get who made the motion?
I made it. Sorry, Kate.
Alderman Cates made the motion. I believe Alderman Rector seconded, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the Beer Board minutes as presented, signify by saying aye. Okay, those are accepted unanimously. Next agenda on the item would be citizens' comments. If you're a citizen and on the call and would like to comment, now would be the time. There is still our 3-minute limit, and the floor is now open if anyone cares to comment.
Yeah, I have some comments, Mayor.
Okay, if I could get you just state your name and where you live, please.
Yeah, it's Mike LaBuddy, 30 Fairview Lane.
Okay.
I guess my question is, I'm actually looking at a list right now, and I've got it earlier today. I'm just wondering, there's a lot of towns, municipalities, cities, counties are giving some kind of hazard pay to their first responders, whether it's a bonus or increase in pay or a percentage. I'm just wondering if we are in Oakland, if anybody has talked about that or considered that.
Okay. Anything else this evening?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll address it during my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else care to be heard this evening? Okay, we'll go ahead and move forward then. And again, if you're not one of the aldermen, if you wouldn't mind muting your phone so we didn't get the background noise, that would make it a lot easier to hear, and we'd be very grateful. So next item on the agenda are communications from the mayor. And again, I want to thank those that have joined us tonight. Thank the aldermen. This is very unique circumstances, and we'll get better at this, even though hopefully we don't have to have too many more electronic meetings. I do want to ensure the public that well, first I want to state that this meeting is being held electronic based on Executive Order number 16 by Governor Bill Lee that gave us the opportunity to use electronic meetings until May 18th to assist with the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, board, and our staff members. And that's why we're having an electronic. I do want to thank again, everyone that is practicing social distancing, staying at home other than essential items, and doing what they can to minimize the spread of the virus. I want to assure everyone listening that we will have this tape within 48 hours connection to our website so that it can be listened to. And I just want everyone to know that they can have confidence that things are getting better, but still ask you to please continue with the things you've been doing of observing the social distancing to minimize your contact and to continue to do what you can in order to minimize this so we can move forward and get into the next phase of whatever normal may be. Now, as far as answering the question on hazardous pay, there's been some discussion. What we will look at doing, and the alderman and I have to have a little further discussion, is towards the end of this process, so probably early May, we'll get together and we'll talk about what we can do, but we do want to recognize those that have worked their normal schedule through this and have been there through it all for us. Public safety is one that has definitely not wavered, and they've all got contingency plans. So it's been discussed. It's not in detail, but I assure you it will. All right, so continuing forward, we did do away with the updates from the department heads this evening. Alderman, you do have those in your packet, and we will try to incorporate them back in at our next regular meeting. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to look, but if you've got any questions from that, we do have the department heads on the line if you would like to ask any questions, or you're welcome to send emails after the fact. Okay. We'll go ahead and move into the discussion items. First thing on those discussion items were the work schedules. And Mr. Cates, I believe you were interested in discussing the work schedule.
Yes, I put that on the schedule. I don't understand how and who came up with that deal on the water department working 50 hours and getting paid for 80. Could somebody explain that to us?
Yes, sir. I can explain it. We had to come up with a plan that created two separate groups that would have minimal contact with each other, so that if one person in one group was confirmed to have the virus, we'd still have a working force. And so that was the schedule that the department head and myself came up with and what we followed. And it has assured that we've always got staff available and aware to keep the water, the wastewater, and just like what was it last week with all the storm debris, to be able to get that up and continue to move forward.
Do we think? Do we really think that was fair to all the other departments, police, fire, even the girls in the office? They still go to work.
Well, it's a matter of necessity, Alderman Cates, of making sure that we do what we can. Police and fire, unfortunately, they already are on shift work, and they are split out. The ladies up front, we were able to separate in different offices except for two, and they're on two different sides of the room. And this was just the best solution we could find to ensure as much safety as possible. Mr. Cates, I will give you. Go ahead.
My past experience of 35 years in one place, we've had to change schedules different times, and I know of 3 options y'all could have looked at. One was they got a good layoff. Draw money now per week if you're laid off. You could have kept what you had to have to run the town, maybe had a volunteer layoff. Number 2, you could have went to 2 8-hour shifts. You could have had an hour before daylight and an hour after dark and still worked 80 hours. The third option, in my opinion, you could have went to a 3-4 or 4-3. You work 4 11s, all 3. You work 3 12s and all 4. It means working through the weekend, but it means getting 40 hours in too. I'm not even sure this is legal, what we've been doing.
Well, there's nothing illegal about it, Mr. Cates, but I will give you some examples of what some of the folks around us are doing. In Somerville, they're split into 2 shifts, and they basically work one week and they're off the next. The county public works are actually staying at home and only making calls that are necessary. In Chickasaw Electric, which is not a municipality, they are staying at home and only making calls that are necessary. So we're still doing quite a bit. I mean, as far as layoffs, that's not an option in my opinion, because we need all of the staff here. We just need to make sure that if anyone gets sick, that we've still got staff to cover. We will evaluate what we're doing, because it looks like we'll be doing this through April, possibly into some weeks into May. But
so have anybody thought about looking at the 2 8-hour shifts? Start at 5 to 1, 1 to 9. You'd have an hour of darkness of a morning, have an hour of daylight or darkness in the evening. You still get your 80 hours in, and you're still split in 2 different groups.
I agree. I even sent a email to that effect, and of course, no response. But I just can't see making your policemen and firemen show up every day and work, and then letting other employees sit at home, and then when you call them out, pay them overtime when they hadn't even worked 40 hours a week.
Well, we've not paid them any overtime. That was a discussion for tonight to make sure that we understand. There is some policy updates that probably need to be done through this, but guys, we had to make some decisions and make them quick in order to protect us the best way we can. Those that have been working. I'm sorry?
Would anybody consider looking at the other 2 options I just mentioned? The 2 8 hours or the 4-3, 3-4? I mean, you'd be working on Saturday and Sunday, but you still wouldn't, not every week, but you would still get your 40 hours and be off 3 days one week before the next.
I will get with the department.
I worked there for 10 damn years, so I know it'll work.
I like the 5 to 1 and the 1 to 9. That seems like that would work, and that'd be fair.
I don't think, Kelly. I like that better way you got covered.
I'm not trying to be hard on anybody. I'm trying to be fair with the whole town. And you're looking at citizens' money, paying somebody 80 to work 50, and that's taxpayers' money. It don't look good.
Well, again, it's not meant to be
fair to everybody.
Well, and they are different jobs, and we're not trying to be unfair, but we're just trying to make sure that we can maintain our city operating all the time.
But it is unfair. It is unfair when you've got employees working 40 hours a week, and you got some that's not working 40 hours a week. It ain't fair.
Well, again, it's been stated. Again, the department head and I will look at it. Hopefully, he'll have some time tomorrow and follow up with an email communicating how we will handle this moving forward. Okay.
I think it needs to start coming into effect Monday, because you still got them split in 2 groups.
Well, again, we'll discuss and make sure that there's nothing that would endanger the staff, that would create problems, and we'll communicate it out. I assure you that I will communicate this out.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm like Mr. Cates. We could move now. I mean, if we want to do this, I mean, we can somebody can make a motion, and we can take a vote.
Guys, here you go trying to run the day-to-day operation. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I'm hearing you, and I told you I would address it. Technically,
you didn't address it when I sent you communications on it.
Come on, guys. Come on, there's so much going on, guys. Come on, please. We've heard you state it.
That's exactly what we're here for, is to help you.
Right, and I told you I would address it and I would communicate out, and so just let me do that, please.
Well, I don't like spending taxpayer money. People sitting at home on the couch. That's what I don't like.
Well, I understand that, and I can respect that.
I'm not trying to run anybody's business. I'm just trying to be fair, Chris, Mayor.
I understand, sir. So, again, I will follow up and let you guys know what changes will be made, and we will implement them as quick as we can. I mean, so I will follow up with you. Okay, are we good on schedules, or is there more conversation? Okay, next is overtime, and I put this on here just to discuss. I think we've discussed it. I guess the question is, and from what I'm hearing, is the board don't want to pay overtime if they haven't physically worked 40 hours, which is what FMLA states. But the discussion's open.
Yeah, I don't want to pay overtime unless somebody's worked the amount of hours they should have worked already.
Okay.
Like I stated before, by state law, every minute over 40 hours occurs overtime, and that is whether you're on call or whether you're physically at work. And since they were on call, they didn't physically work 40 hours.
Okay, Alderman Rector, I can respect that, and I understand. Again, that's why I wanted to see what everyone thought, which is why I put it on the agenda. And we'll make sure that it's fully understood, which if we change schedules, it may take care of itself. Anyone else care to comment?
Yes, regular 40 hours.
Okay. Appreciate that, Alderman Duncan and Vice Mayor Sutton years earlier. I will. I appreciate that. And there are some things we're learning from this that we need to do moving forward to better track these things, whether it is when something happens after hours, that we're logging it better, keeping up with it, the way that we're communicating it. So we've definitely learned or had a refresher in learning. So I can assure you, as this goes back to normal, whatever that means, there will be some other changes that will be implemented as well.
Sure will.
Okay. We comfortable to move forward? Anything else on overtime?
Mayor, when me and you had discussed this earlier, you said that you was going to look into some sort of electronic timestamp, and I didn't know if you had time today to follow up with that, or is that something you plan on doing in the next day or so?
No, I will do it tomorrow or Monday. Unfortunately, I just didn't have time this afternoon with other things that were booked and going on. But that's one of the things that I will look at. I'll look at the cost. I'll look at the availability. I know that you had provided some things that you were familiar with, or some applications. So I will research that and follow up with the board next week.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Next item is budget, and Vice Mayor Sutton.
Yes, I was just wondering where we're at on the budget, and it's April. We need to have a budget meeting. That's for sure.
Yes, definitely. The department heads are moving forward with their budget. kind of what I'm looking at this point is early May have a budget workshop. We can get that done. Then at our May board meeting, have the first reading of the budget. And then early June, have a special call meeting for the second reading. One of the things that we're waiting on is the the governor and his office are looking at the decline in revenues and going to do some projections for the counties and municipalities to give us an idea of what they're expecting to be declined because of the pandemic. So I'm hoping to get those numbers well, so as necessary we can adjust the revenues. But we are on track to be able to get a budget workshop in early May.
Okay.
All right. Anything else on budget? Anyone else? Okay. Next would be policies. Vice Mayor Sutton.
Yes, I think we need to take a look by this and go over it and make sure that we get all the conflicts out. I know some of our policies and procedures conflict with our municipal codes and our charter as well. And I just feel like that we need to try to get that straightened out.
Okay, so a complete review of the municipal code, the employees policy handbook, and the charter, and make sure that they're all in sync is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, but I mean, because we, and I chimed in earlier on some communication. I really didn't have a dog in the fight, but looked at the thing. But we've got to know our codes. We got to know what we can do and when we can add stuff and when the agenda's got to be out. And if that's something that we feel like needs to be changed, then we can change it. But if that's our policy and that's our code, municipal code, then I feel like we need to follow it.
Okay, and I guess part of that's a shortcoming for me of not providing the board with a resolution that was actually passed before this board that's still enacted until it's removed, that talks about adding discussion items and when everything is due in order to give the recorder time to get the agenda that I provide and set, and to be able to get the package ready, to get it posted, and to you gentlemen in time to review. I know the policy says up to 2 days before the meeting, but it would be very difficult to get all of that done, to get it posted, and to get you your packets in 2 days.
I understand. I understand, but if there was a resolution passed, it seems like that same board should have passed and changed the municipal code as well. Because that's what we're supposed to follow. We're supposed to follow the charter and the municipal code.
Okay. Any other comments from any other alderman on policy?
I thought we brought this up before about the charter and stuff. Did you not say that y'all were working on redoing the whole charter?
No, sir. We're working on the personnel policy, not the municipal code, and of course the charter, which is on the agenda tonight.
Like you said, you'd be like stapling stuff to the pages where it's been changed, where it's not in there right now.
Alderman Cates, I honestly don't remember that.
The stuff that's been changed is not stuck in the charter.
Well, municipal code, I believe what you mean, Mr. Frank.
What?
I think you're talking about the municipal code instead of the charter and the policy and procedure.
It's something, but they said that it hadn't been changed. They would have to staple some new stuff to the pages to make it updated.
I know that we're looking at scheduling the recodification of our municipal code to get the last 2 years ordinances in there that's not in that book that you've got on municipal code, because it's only done every 2 years. I'm sorry?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, because I knew it had been discussed in one of the meetings, and you said it was going to be updated.
We're working with MTask. They have recodified it in the past, and they've got a program, I believe. and I'll follow up. But I believe that we've talked to them, and because of the waiting time that we've got our name on the list, it's just going to be a little bit of time. And of course, the current situation hit, and a lot of things have kind of slowed. But
That's
but it
fine. I was
definitely.
just confused because I thought we had discussed this once before.
I'm sure we probably have, sir.
Okay.
But I'll let you know where we stand at MTAS on getting these updates done, because we're actually want them to go through and review all of our ordinances from a legal perspective to make sure that they're in line with current state laws, as well as getting all the new ordinances added to it.
I know it's not an overnight job, but I was just curious.
Okay, no problem. Anyone else? Next item is the sports complex. Mr. Cates, Alderman Cates and Vice Mayor Sutton both asked for this to be on here.
Yeah, my question was, I know we put some money back in this year's budget to do something, and I know we can't get in there with no dozer and stuff right now, but I don't understand why we can't be doing soil samples and doing some engineer work in there with what we already had in the budget to get a little jump on doing something.
Well, we can potentially get some topology surveys done and some things like that. What we had done is, remember, we had we narrowed down the design firms to 3, and then as this pandemic hit, we were supposed to go back and meet with them.
Yeah, but that's not got anything to do with the samples, has it?
Well, they would typically drive a lot of this stuff by putting the plan together on what needs to be done. But, if the board wants to start some of this, we can. But again, the hopes is we would get that design firm in.
I'm not saying go overboard, but I say it's some stuff that, I don't know, Ken, y'all might have a different idea, but it looks to me like we could be getting soil samples and stuff like that and do some of the work now instead of waiting and doing it later.
Well, my thought is, Frank, we could be doing something, but soil samples, I wouldn't want to sample everything. I would want to sample where it was pertinent to be sampled. So until I have a plan where the park layout should be, I wouldn't want to just go in and start sampling, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But
we definitely, my concern is money's as cheap as I've ever seen it. And we've got a fine opportunity to, with money being so cheap, of going ahead and getting a lot done, and yet, we sure hadn't done anything. But if those people are ready to meet, I'm ready to meet as well.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Well, I know they all. Go ahead.
I don't think it's any more dangerous for us getting up there and spreading out in that room, having these meetings, as long as we can stay 6 to 10 foot apart, and you maybe PPE or whatever everybody feels comfortable with. But this is hard to communicate and do this like this. And we paid a lot of money to be set up to be able to live stream to the public and let people watch it, and we're still not doing it. I understand the electronic meeting, but I don't think that's meant. It's meant to keep it under 10 and where you can still have social distancing. That's what it was meant for, not for us to all be at home. We need to be meeting up there.
Not any dangerous right now than it was last March when we met.
So
guys, what the firms that we narrowed it down to have all communicated is their policy is for them to not go on site. It's been some weeks. I'll follow up with them. I know that one of them contacted me today and said that they'd be glad to do an electronic presentation. I'll have to see if they're willing to meet. And again, I'm very cautious. I understand what you're saying, but I'm still very cautious about getting too many people in one room. I know that the norm in the area is to do things electronically right now, but let me see what all of the presenters say about that, and I'll follow up.
It's so much faster and easier to do it live than it is like this.
Well, it may be a bit faster, but I'm still, again, we have to set the example for our citizens in what we do. Okay, so I will follow up based on what the firms that we selected to be in the final round say, and I'll get that email out as soon as I can, and we can figure out where to go from there.
Okay.
Any other comments on sports complex? Okay. Next would be Main Street property, and this was Alderman Cates and Vice Mayor Sutton requested this as well.
Yeah, I just want to know. I mean, we visited up there. We know we've got enough office space up there to handle what we got. I think we determined that the flooring, we didn't need to replace that, and it looked like it was pretty good. The walls and stuff needed some paint in some rooms, and need to replace some ceiling tiles. But I think everybody kind of thought up there that the first thing we need to do is get somebody on the roof and make sure that we wasn't leaking anywhere on the roof.
And also, and to wrap those pipes, so air-conditioned ducts.
Right, they'll have to be done. I guess one of the outstanding questions was we had a proposal from an architect to come in and manage the project and do it, or do we want to put out for a bid for a subcontractor? And that was kind of where I thought we had left it last time we talked, is to make that decision and then move forward from there.
Well, I don't think we need to pay for an architect's design for what we need to do up there.
I don't need it. I think
it's pretty simple.
Okay, and as far as the roof, we've had one firm come out and look at it, and their quote was $12,000 to repair it. So I want to get one more out to take a quick look, and then it looks like we may have to get that bid out because of the price of it. So hopefully,
let's bid it out and get started on it. Have we had a chance to get somebody to wrap those duct pipes that was leaking? Air-conditioned duct pipe you're talking about was leaking, it was running the ceiling?
Well, they sweat, yeah. And no, I've not done anything over there because, again, the last time we met and looked through it, and that was in March as this pandemic started getting worse. And so my whole focus has been keeping things running from there, and I have not done anything in that building, not knowing exactly what direction you aldermen wanted to take.
I want to make a motion that we get bids to fix the roof and wrap the pipes, if that's what's causing the moisture in the building.
Okay,
so
well,
I make a motion that we let bids out for roof repair and wrapping the pipes in the Main Street property.
Vice Mayor Sutton, if you'll let me make one comment, and then we can address your motion. But, with bidding anything out, I believe our code requires a resolution to have the authority to bid that out. Now, we can put that together and have a quick special call meeting next week, in order to follow our standard procedure.
Before we have a special call meeting, there's some more stuff we probably need to add on there. Like talking to the engineering firms about the park property and some more, because once you set that agenda, you've got to stick with it. So I don't want to set one for just that, but I mean, we still need to be trying to do some business. I know you get on to me about the day-to-day business, but I feel like it's another wasted month if we don't move on something.
No problem.
I'll withdraw my motion, but I'll be in contact with the rest of you on what what we need to do about having another meeting.
Okay, well, we'll work on the resolutions, and I'll contact the architects. And if there's other items that you gentlemen want added to a special call meeting, I would ask you to communicate them to Miss Yvonne or myself. Okay, we good with that? Any more comments on the Main Street property? Okay, next item would be the neighborhood code enforcement. Alderman Cates.
Yeah, I know. I know he only works so many hours a week or so many days a week, but I don't know about the rest of the board. But I'm looking some in different neighborhoods is beginning to get pretty ragged since we've stopped letting him do some. Is there any way that we could do maybe half of his time in neighborhoods and half of the time on construction? Is it some way we could work through some of that?
Yeah.
Well, this board made a motion. Now, Mr. Walter wasn't at that meeting, but Mr. Quinn was, that it was okay for them to go back in the neighborhoods. You just hadn't been seeing it on the report, and that was 3 months ago. That was in the January meeting that this board give authority to start writing trailers in driveways and things like that, and if any are complained on. But I don't know if there's been any complaints. If Mr. Owens is on the phone, maybe he can tell us if they've had any complaints about trailers in driveway and boats and RVs and things like that.
Most of your neighbors is not going to call in one on them, though. That's the thing about it, Ken. I know they should, but they won't.
But we lifted that restriction in January, Mr. Frank.
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Is Mr. Owens on the phone?
Sir?
Is Mr. Owens on the phone?
I don't think none of the is on.
No.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Why would the department heads not be on the phone?
To my knowledge, they are on the phone. I know Harvey's already, Mr. Ellis has already spoken.
My department's present.
Walter on it?
Walter.
He's not commenting. I'm not sure. I will send him a text, but I can tell you that we have had complaints that they've addressed because they've come in through the Mayor's Action Center, as well as calls that have come in. And I will, matter of fact, Mr. Owens, I've spoken late last week, early this week about ensuring that we are getting out in the neighborhood. So I will follow up on that to make sure that is happening.
So he's going to start. He's going to start doing some neighborhoods and then first construction, right?
Well, yes.
Don't quit both. Just do some in both areas.
Yes, sir. Well, and construction had slowed down for a minute, but I know they've had like 16 new permits this week, so it's picking back up. But yeah, I'll make sure we understand.
It's getting warm weather. People are going to start parking everything everywhere, right?
Yes, sir. We will.
Is Mr. Ellis on the phone call?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is Chief Earl on the phone call?
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all for attending.
Mr. Mullins on the phone call? Sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Alderman Cates, I will follow up with code enforcement and make sure they understand.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they need to start doing it on their own instead of somebody calling and telling.
Yes, sir.
And I remember you doing that now, Ken. It just slipped my mind that it was in January, February that it was said that they need to go back in the neighborhood some. I remember you saying it now.
And there are some on the report. I don't remember the number, but we'll make sure they understand.
There hadn't been. And I was looking for my report on this now, but I don't know if I've got one.
I think I remember you saying something back in January, February now. Hey, Ken?
Yeah.
This is Walter. I'm on two phones. One phone wouldn't go through for me. I was sitting there listening to the whole conversation, but I don't remember it being lifted up in
You wasn't
January.
there. You wasn't there.
Okay.
Greg Quinn was there at the meeting.
Yeah, and I want to clarify that we don't have just one person working on code compliance. In other words, there's 5 people in the office, and all of us take care of what needs to be taken care of. So Frank had mentioned something about putting one person part-time on this and part-time on that. We try to take care of everything we can, and if somebody's off sick or what have you, but the person that we're talking about, his wife fell and broke her hip, broke her collar. So he's kind of been out, so we've been kind of trying to do what we can do. Does that make sense?
Who did this?
Sam's wife. Sam's
okay.
wife.
All right.
Darn. And I don't know why you couldn't hear me because I put you. But I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just couldn't get the other phone. Y'all couldn't hear me. I wanted to make sure you knew I've been listening.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking care of that problem for me the other day.
Yeah, not a problem.
How are y'all keeping up with everything?
We're doing the best we can.
Are your people on an adjusted work schedule as well?
We have been for about 2 weeks, but we, with one gentleman being out, taking care of his wife, we're just trying to do what we can do.
Y'all getting your 40 hours a weekend?
We're trying to make sure that we're keeping the distance. We don't want anybody getting close to anybody else.
But are y'all getting your 40 hours a weekend? Everybody getting 40 hours a week?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
All right.
Just stay safe.
All right, thank you.
We comfortable moving to the next item?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right, next would be paving. Mr. Cates, Alderman Cates.
I don't know why that was even on. I think it rolled over from last month. But I guess they completely through with the paving anyway, aren't they?
With the last contract? Yes.
With the contract. I guess my question is, as much rain as we had, and looks like we still got some coming, is the town capable of going and patching some of these potholes?
Yes, sir. We have been, as you said, in between the rain. We are limited to the sides. We're limited to the sides that we can repair. If we get much over a 8 by 10, something like that, that's a little more than the guys can handle at one time. But anything below that, we can do.
I'm talking about like fire busting holes.
Yes, sir. We've been doing that every opportunity we can between that and the brush pickup and other emergencies we've had over the last month or two.
Well, I tell you, I'm scared to death. We're gonna have to pay out over there by the driver's license station. Something needs to be done right there. If we have to do an emergency job or something needs to be done right there before we buy some tires.
So you'll know I've had the engineer working on a cost estimate for that area, along with 4 or 5 other areas for future projects. As soon as I get that estimate in for that area, I'll be glad to give it to the mayor, give it to you guys.
Well, you talking about perfect time to work on it, being they're shut down right now. Yeah, perfect time. You talking about 64 all the way to the top of the hill?
Yes, sir.
Not the whole neighborhood, just to the top of the hill.
Just to the top of the hill. I think it's 1,000 feet. He's working on a cost estimate on that right now. We have a geotech engineer going to look at it. He's going to recommend the proper way to repair it. Of course, you know there's several ways it could be done. So I am working on that. As soon as I get that, I'll pass that on to the mayor.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about between 64 and the driver's license place?
Yeah. Up to the first street to the left, I believe it is.
It's going north and south.
The portion, and I could be out of line, the portion between 64 that's utilized for the driver's license since they're using that, is there any, assistance we can get from the state level on that portion of the street?
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean, I don't know. I was just asking.
You talking about something from the state?
Yeah, because they're utilizing that for the driver's license.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We might could get some from the help from the state on that since it's their state license. I don't know. It'd be worth a try.
My only comment on that would be I believe they extended that for another year. So hopefully, once we get back to kind of normal, surely the crowds won't be as heavy as they were. But that's not answering your question. But if they extended that for another year, I don't know. Just my thoughts.
Okay.
I don't know. We ain't got anything to lose by asking. Right?
I'll check on it. This is Mayor Goodman. I'll talk to the state and see what their perspective is.
That's what I say. It's no. What have we got to lose by asking? Nothing.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is Xerox sales reversal, and I asked to have this put on. Gentlemen, we have gotten contact back from Xerox on the copiers that we've not used since March, and they have sent a letter. I believe that was included in your packet that said they will terminate those contracts as long as we sign the letter and pay the outstanding balance. So just wanted to bring it to your attention and let you know Attorney Minor has looked at the letter and he agrees that the board needs to decide and give me the authority to sign it before we move forward and do anything.
What's the price on that?
Outstanding invoices, or I've actually requested that they give us what they've got on their books, but it's approximately $2,800 outstanding from the months where we stopped paying them till we actually stopped using them in March.
I respect what you're saying, but approximately and what we owe is two different things. Can you give us an exact figure of how much we owe?
I will send you an exact figure. Yes, I don't have it with me. I wanted to get what Xerox has on their books and compare to what we've got on ours. What we've got on our books is 2,758 is what we've got on our books. But I need to make sure of what they've got and reconcile the two together to give you an exact number.
That's what I'm asking. No disrespect to what you're saying. It's just I don't want no price. I like to know what we owe them.
Right. Like I say, we know the minimum is $2,758, but I'll have that information, and we probably need, obviously, until you get those numbers, need to push this to the special call meeting. But I will need the board to approve this in order to officially terminate those contracts.
Okay. When we get the exact number, I'll be ready to vote on it.
I want the exact number too, because the last time we did this and paid that final invoice, we thought Micro Computers come back and said we owed them some more money.
Right, that's what I'm questioning.
And that's why I want something from Xerox that says what their book shows, so we don't do that. So again, I'd hope to have it prior to tonight. Unfortunately, two different divisions, and they have not gotten me that information, but I do expect it, if not tomorrow, then early next week. And we'll make sure it's on the special call meeting.
I just want to make sure the exact price and a release letter that's the final payment, no more after that.
Well, and that's what this letter states. It states it's terminating the contract if we agree to basically pay the outstanding invoice and allow them to pick up the equipment, and the equipment is in the same working condition as when they delivered them, meaning we've not abused the equipment, which we have not.
I don't have no problem paying what we owe, but I do have a problem with them coming back later wanting more.
Yes, sir. That's why we want it all done at once. So I will make sure we've got those numbers.
I personally don't think we owe it.
I never did get his writing from I asked something in writing that would clear us if we voted for that. I didn't get it yet either.
Attorney
I don't want to be held responsible for nothing that we didn't sign for. I'd asked him to contact the comptroller's office or somebody to give us a release on that in case it come back, that the board wouldn't be held responsible for it. And I haven't saw that.
Alderman Cates, Attorney Minor did actually talk to, I believe he was asked to get with the district attorney.
Yeah, but all he did is just confirm a conversation that Attorney Minor said. He didn't put it in writing. He just said, I spoke according to our conversation. And it's not that I don't trust Tom, I do. But that don't give me something in writing if they come back on me in 2 years. If I've got it in writing saying that's okay from him, I've got something. But, you know, that conversation, what if Mr. Minor, something happens to him? Or something happened to the Attorney General that said that? We still don't have that. It was just confirming that they had a conversation. There wasn't nothing in writing saying we were released from responsibility.
Okay.
Board members, this is Tom Minor. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. The letter that I sent General Davidson and then his letter back, that was my attempt to get in writing from the district attorney his statement that he would not hold the city liable if we followed the procedures that I set out in his letter. If I need to do something more than that, then I'm going to need to, I guess, send him another letter. But it was my intent. Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it was just my intent by the letter that I sent to him on March 18 and then his email back to me that confirmed the information that was contained in my letter, that was my attempt to make sure that there was some written validation from the district attorney that if we followed those steps outlined in my letter, that there would be no steps taken or action taken by the district attorney against the town or against the board members individually.
I'm worried about against the board.
Well, that's what I added, or against the board members individually.
Because if we don't have something in writing, and this has happened to this town twice before that I know of, and it was darn near indicted, and a lot of it was almost indicted one time before. And I'm not going to jail over something that I didn't sign okay to start with, and I want something in writing that says that I am cleared of any fraud or knowingly or unknowingly wrongdoing, because I am not going to jail over something like this.
And I am very sensitive to that because I understand that I was brought in as the new town attorney under that cloud of concern and suspicion. And the third paragraph of my letter of March 18 to General Davidson, it says that the board has instructed me to make contact with you in order to explain this situation to you fully and to obtain from you an acknowledgement that a vote by the board to pay Mr. Gabb his outstanding fees will not be viewed by your office as an improper payment which might result in possible criminal exposure to the board. As I explained, these concerns of the board exist due to the previous improper activity noted by the comptroller in its investigative report dated April 18, 2017, and General Donovan's letter of April 20, 2017 to the Oakland Board of Mayor and Aldermen. So I just wanted to, that was my intent in that paragraph, was to cover that date.
Mr. Minor, you just read that, and that's about Mr. Gabb. That ain't about this computer. That ain't about the copier contract. That's about the accounting firm.
Let's see. In the second page of that letter, I go on to say, with respect to the Xerox copier lease agreement, I have provided you a copy of the lease agreement as well as a copy of a letter I have sent to Xerox dated March 9. That's where I told Xerox, we're not going to honor your contract. The deal is off. and then I go on to say, for reasons similar to those related to the town's consulting agreement with Mr. Gabb, you have advised that you have no reason to question any decision from the board to make payment to Xerox for copier services provided through March 19, but you believe that it must be made clear to Mayor Goodman that these and all similar contractual obligations entered into by the town must be done with prior board approval. And then as a result of Mark Davidson sending me the email back, that's when we made contact with Xerox and said, if you guys want to pick up your copiers and send us a settlement agreement, we'll discuss that with the board. And as a result of that, Xerox sent us that proposed settlement agreement that you guys have in front of you. And I agree with Mr. Frank 100%. There doesn't need to be any vote on that settlement agreement until Xerox provides the exact amount that they state is due and owing, which I have already told Mayor Goodman in an email to him on March 31 that we had to have. So,
and didn't you say these were two? And you did also say you would handle these two instances in a different manner because they were different. They were seen
absolutely, yes. That's why I wanted Xerox to send us a statement of what they said was due and owing, and they have not done that, I understand.
And also,
which, quite frankly, a little bit surprises me.
And also, by looking at these contracts, Mr. Minor, you've got a $9,000 difference in an annual contract, where that one that the mayor entered into was for like $39,000 something, and now we have a bid for $30,554.10. So
yeah,
there's a difference of about it's a difference of about $9,000.
Yeah, I saw that. No, this settlement agreement
by us not getting bids, it costs us $9,000.
Yeah, this settlement agreement that Xerox has sent out is half baked. They've got to give us the amount that they say that we're owed, or that they are owed, rather.
I mean, they need to give the exact figure too, and don't change it.
Again,
we put too much grease on your hand and throw it against the wall, and just so much of it will stick, and the rest of it will come back on you.
Again, gentlemen, it's Mayor Goodman. Xerox is committed. It comes from two different departments. Matter of fact, I had an email yesterday where Mr. Howe, who is the one who sent us the release letter, sent a follow-up to the billing department to get this information, so that they are getting it. There's a lot of things that are moving slow right now, unfortunately. So
I understand.
Again, as I said earlier,
until they pick their copiers up, though, until they pick them up, we're never going to get a final. So if they say we owe them that on the rent, then they can get their copy machine and say, "Oh, this ain't normal wear and tear. This is tore up." We need them to pick up their stuff and give us a final, just like the attorney told them to, and let's get it finished.
But they're not going to pick them up until we sign this release. And we can have them.
What?
You can have them come and sign off on them as they are right now.
No, that's what I was going to say. We can request that they have someone review them. Again, there are no issues with the copiers. We have not abused them, but again, they will not pick them up because in their eyes, there's still a contract until we sign the release and get out of it. But I will ask them, along with the final cost, that they have someone inspect them so that once we sign, that we're done and it's clear and all finished. And I will bring all this information back to the board as soon as I get it.
Well, Mayor, in a letter, there's no more coming.
I'm sorry, Attorney Minor.
Yeah, Mayor, this is Tom Minor. What they've got to do is they've got to give the amount that is owed. They've got to understand nobody signs a settlement agreement unless the party that's agreeing to settle understands how much they owe. And so that's the first thing that they've got to do is provide that amount that they say is owed, where the town can match that up with what you think you owe. And then I think that is a good idea that if there's some sort of written correspondence between you all agreeing to an amount, that they come out and inspect those copiers and acknowledge that that they are in a condition that will not allow them to come back later and say that they were in some way damaged.
They sign off on them when they pick them up.
But what they have failed to do is provide a statement of what is owed.
And again, they have agreed to provide that, so we will get it. Unfortunately, I just don't have it for tonight. So that's why we won't vote or move anything tonight. We'll make sure we get it. But again, they did not argue with me when I sent that back after your advice, Attorney Minor, said, request this. I went back to Mr. Howe. I made that request, and he said, no problem. It just may take, he said up to 30 days, but the last communication I got indicated we'd get it in the next 5 days, which would end up putting it tomorrow or Monday.
Okay.
Well, when we get his cost back, and if it's different from our cost, will y'all be able to sit down and see where the difference is?
Most certainly. I'll go back to him and send him copies of the outstanding invoices we have, and then he'll have to, or he'll send me copies of his outstanding invoices so that we can see what the difference is, if there is. Most definitely. I assure the board that this is different than the past, and Ms. Bullard and myself are going to make sure that they balance, or that we know why there's a difference, if there is, so that there's no question that everything is out there and very plain.
Needs to be read out on the table in the open when it's finished.
Yes, sir. Okay, we prepared to continue forward. Let's see. The next thing is, I believe, is the copier contract, Mr. Sutton, or Vice Mayor Sutton, you had, which we've got Resolution 2021 on the agenda tonight as well.
What is it?
Well, just I had the Xerox sales release, and then Vice Mayor Sutton had copier contracts. I just wanted to check and see if there was anything still that he wanted to discuss, or if we've covered it all.
Oh.
Vice Mayor, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. No, I mean, are you comfortable with what we've discussed? This was a discussion item you had on here. We good to move forward?
Yes, sir. I'm comfortable. We can move forward.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the mosquito abatement. I believe, Vice Mayor, you had that on here as well from the last meeting.
Yeah, it says the resolution 2015. Does anybody have that resolution? Am I just missing it?
Well, I believe what 2015 is where the board provided the authority to bid this out. And just to update you on where that is, we're looking at the second week of May of getting that in, which would allow you, the board, to select a provider at the May 21st meeting. And then the expectation would be that we can get that done and have them ready to start spraying that next week, which would be the start of the week of May 25th.
I can just tell you the reason why I ain't sitting outside doing this meeting right now is because I'll get mosquito bit out there.
Understand.
We're about a month too late this year.
Well, at least we're not. We were August last year, so I guess we're on schedule to at least start by the end of May or 1st of June. But it's real important there, and I've been saying this in the wintertime. To be effective on this mosquito abatement, you got to start during the breeding season, and that's now.
Yes, sir. Okay. Next was
unusual year. This is unusual year with all this rain. They're really going to be bad this year.
They are now. If the board would like, we can have the company did it last year. Just do a couple sprayings prior to awarding the contract in May, or we can wait on the contract. It's up to you.
Is it an annual contract? Because that contract wasn't signed until like July. Is it an annual contract, or is it? How's that contract rolling?
The contract and it was quotes last year because it was only for the season. It was only for, I can't remember, 3 or 4 months. It wasn't for a long period. This particular one we're looking at is actually for a 3-year period. So no, what we had last year is not covered under a contract. But if I called the company, I'm sure they would do some single. I'm sorry?
What does he charge for spray?
I don't have those numbers in front of me. I'll be glad to pull them and forward them to the board.
That's something else you can put on for the special call meeting. Just put it on the special call meeting.
Okay. As far as some initial spraying prior to the contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, what the cost is on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next item is sponsorships. Vice Mayor Sutton?
Yes, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. And I'm guessing that the town, if it's under a certain amount, y'all have the right to just sponsor anything you want to? Or how's that handled?
Well, I mean, by policy, we could, but we've brought any sponsorships to the board up to this point. We've not signed any without the board being aware.
Well, I mean, I was at an event, Mary, where our Park and Rec department had donated some stuff to the event, like some free soccer registrations and stuff like that. That never come in front of the board.
That wasn't
Mr. Mullins may could tell us about it.
But just to be clear, just a second, Mr. Mullins, they did make a donation, but that was not any type of a sponsorship.
Well, I mean, it's money.
I don't disagree with you, but again, it's not a sponsorship. It was something a department did. Mr. Mullins, I'm not aware of that process. I do know that there was soccer registration at one of the events. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, it's something that Parks and Rec has done, I guess, the last couple of years before I even came on. They awarded or had a sponsorship of a free soccer registration that was valued at about $70. And I'm not 100% sure how that works as far as how they got the sponsorship, but we just awarded a free registration that of the value of $70.
So how do we balance our books there? If we've got, how do we do that? How do we balance our books right there?
Well, in that case, it's a free registration, but in some cases we do have some folks that will donate more, or when they sign up for soccer, they may pay a little bit extra and they just donate it toward our program. So, I mean, some people do give, I guess, a scholarship, or they pay for a free registration, or just say, hey, donate that towards somebody who needs one.
Okay.
But it is a good opportunity for advertising and for getting people to come out and sign up for soccer.
Well, there's state laws, and I encourage everybody to read them, that covers what you can do and what you can't do with town money. And there's a TCA section for that. The same one about giving money to nonprofits. And there's certain things that has to happen before that money can be given to nonprofits. And TCA covers that. I've got them screenshot on my phone if I want to go through 1,000 photos right now. But I encourage everybody that's going to be giving money or doing something to read those rules to find out what you got to have for that. And on that circumstance, you would have to have the checks and balances from that event to be able to give something to that event. And so you would have to be able to know what that event took in, what they spent, and what their net was. And so I'm not against giving money. I'm just for doing it the right way and following the law.
Understood.
You know, sometimes you can't go by what's been done in the past, because some of the stuff was wrong in the past. It's just now being taught the right way.
Okay, we will ensure that that's understood by all staff members. Next is trash. Vice Mayor Sutton, you've got trash on the
wait just a minute.
Okay.
I still got a question on this donation stuff.
Okay.
Since Spring Fest was called off this year, we didn't donate $2,500 this year, right?
I believe that's what we had agreed to sponsor. Yes.
Did we give them that, even though they're not having it?
Well,
it wasn't voted
first,
on.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we received that invoice. I will check, but they actually made a post today that the chamber sent me to where they haven't set a date, but they're postponing it till after this pandemic is through and over.
My question is that we hadn't given anything to Springfest yet, right?
Well, that was the question, and I was telling you I'll have to check. I don't know if we've received that invoice or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, we hadn't voted to give it yet, so I hope
Miss Bullard could probably answer that question, Mr. Bryant.
You'll give me 1 second. I'm looking on the computer now.
But Alderman Cates, I believe the board did vote to do the sponsorships that we've done up to this point. I could be mistaken, but I believe it's just like Cotton Fest that the Oakland Chamber decided at that same time.
I think the last one we voted for was for Fall Fest. This is a new year and new budget and all on this one.
Well,
no, it would be.
Well, we need to we may need to redirect, Mayor, on that. And I know we've got some economic community development money, and with businesses in town, I'm one of them. And I'm not saying for my benefit because I'm not open, but the chamber, we may could direct that into economic community development and set some standards for them, some things they could do to help the businesses in Oakland that's struggling, because this thing could really get nasty before it's over with. It hurts. I promise you, it hurts you when you don't have any revenues and you're open. But we may could redirect that, like instead of the Spring Fest, if they're not, to some economic community development, and actually give them some stuff to do that the town wants done, and then let them do that for us on social media or advertising or what have you. Because I know that they could be struggling too. But
no, that's go ahead.
That's kind of a different way of thinking too. That could be used a different way than just Springfest, because Springfest is over. As far as I'm concerned, they can call it off for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I don't think we need to give to something that don't happen, but I think we could redirect funds and let the chamber help us in some other ways to help our businesses to create revenue and put money in our coffers. Yeah.
I agree with that.
You can put that on that special call meeting too, Mayor.
Okay. I'll talk to the chamber director and chair as well and get some ideas and thoughts.
I don't mind redirecting like that as long as it's not used for something that we're not promoting.
Understood.
Okay, now I'm through. I'm sorry, but you jumped me too fast a while ago.
No problem. My apologies. I didn't ask. So we okay to move forward to the next item?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next would be trash, Vice Mayor Sutton. No, I apologize. I missed one.
I think this is something that we could get handled on a litter grant. If citizens' comments, I'm sorry. The citizens' comments, I was just wondering, I put this on here because sometimes a citizen will make a comment and I want to say something, I'm not really able to say it. So according to Robert's Rule of Order and the way this is set up. So at this time, I don't have anything for citizens' comments.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I have a citizen's question or comment.
Ma'am, we've actually passed the area where citizens comment. I'd be glad to talk to you after the meeting or at any time in my office.
Okay, I was just looking at the agenda, and I know you had one in the very beginning, but I saw sponsorships and citizens' comments and then trash. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize for the confusion. So Vice Mayor.
Excuse me, Board.
Go ahead.
I have the information on the Chamber of Commerce and the Spring Fest.
Mm-hmm.
We did issue a September of 2019 that was for the sponsorship of Oktoberfest, Spring Fest, and also the Chamber membership.
Why would we pay all that in advance?
That was for the budget of 2019.
So, Alderman Cates, the board granted those memberships and those sponsorships, and I guess since we agreed to it, the chamber just invoices for everything at once.
But don't we do that by resolution? So we would have had to do a resolution on that, wouldn't we?
What I'm thinking.
I believe so. I'm checking on that now.
You start doing it in one year past June of the next year, you don't run into two different budgets on that.
Remember, the Oktoberfest is after.
We got caught with that one year, remember?
I'm sorry?
We got caught doing that one year. We had to go back and redo some stuff because it was paid out of the wrong budget. Remember that, Ken?
Yeah, but this would have been in the July. It would have been after July, so it would have been in the new budget.
But does it go through this year or just through April of this year?
It goes to June 30th.
Okay. Remember, one time it did run into the budget, remember? Had to go back and change it.
And I guess that would be out of the general. I'm looking at the budget tracker now for donations and sponsorships. So we only give 8,500, and so that was just the sponsorships and donations and sponsorships out of the admin expense. So that would have just covered the membership. And then I saw in Park and Rec or somewhere over there where there was like 7,600.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
The 7,500 membership came out of the line item 520, which is dues and membership.
Right.
And then you had, let's see.
Where would the county chambers? Where would the county chambers be right there? If that's the Oakland chamber, why wouldn't the county chambers be in the same place?
I would have to check and see if we paid the Fayette County Chamber, if we paid a membership there.
But I don't believe they've invoiced us.
It was voted on to send to it.
Okay, right, but I have to look these things up before I speak.
So if there's the 7,500, where did the 8,500?
The other is in line item 514 sponsorship in the general fund.
Well, 3,500 and 2,500 ain't but $6,000. It looks like 8,500 here. So what? Can you tell us how that 8,500 come to be? Who all that money was to?
Yes, sir.
But we did sponsor the Cotton Festival, which what was that? Was it 2,500 or 2,000? I don't remember specifically, but that would have come.
I thought it was 1,000.
Excuse me?
I thought it was 1,000.
Again, I've slept many nights since then, but it would come out of that line item. Unfortunately, Ms. Bullett's got the records there.
chamber used to account that issue. I need to know pretty quick. Sure, we're discussing it. Sound really cost, you know.
While Ms. Bullard's looking that up, do we want to go ahead and talk about the trash? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the Fayette County Chamber of Commerce sponsorship was $1,000. The Regional Chamber of Commerce was $6,000, and then a Carl Perkins sponsorship for $1,500.
Okay, that's it. That's it. So the county never did invoices for our dues there?
Well, they probably did, but they're not in the folder because I've got to look in the computer for a different area under Fayette County.
See, I don't
we do
remember.
not pay anything. We don't pay anything without an invoice.
Okay.
And I'll go pull that invoice if that's what you'd like.
I need to see. I don't want to see it.
Okay.
Because I know we voted. I know we voted to sponsor both of them in membership.
Okay.
The whole board voted for that.
Okay, so we want to go ahead and talk about trash while Mr. Bullard's looking to see if we've got an invoice on the county chamber yet.
Yes, sir. It'd be fine. So there's some grants out there for this. If whoever we've talked to about writing some grants for us, with litter grants. But I just think, we have a lot of complaints on everybody throwing trash down. And I had a citizen call me and tell me that he's noticed that the fast food places and stuff, they don't have receptacles like they used to for people to throw their trash in. And I just thought maybe the town could purchase some receptacles and put over town where people would have more places to throw their trash instead of throwing it out on the ground.
So just to make sure I understand, you're talking about the town putting receptacles just around in different areas in the town or at the fast food place?
Yes,
I think both.
Well, at the fast food places and other shopping centers and stuff like that, to where it gives people a place to do it. It's a suggestion. So I told the citizen that I would bring it up, and I thought it was a good suggestion.
No, it is, and I would like to talk to, like I know the fast food restaurant at the corner of 194 and 64 is under relatively new ownership. And I'd like to actually go back to those owners, especially ones that have drive-through windows, and request that they put them in at their cost. And then that way, if we wanted to put other receptacles around town, our money would go further.
I think they should be required to have one.
Yeah, and that could be economic community development as well. And we do have $42,000 still over there.
Okay.
Do we know what that 7316 was spent on right there? Economic community on Oakland Economic Development, Mayor?
I do not off the top of my head. I do know that especially the sponsorship and the economic development all comes through the board. Very unusual for us to spend any money out of either of those funds without them coming to the board, even if they are within the acceptable purchasing policy. So we'll have to look that transaction up. I just can't remember it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have Fayette County Chamber of Commerce invoice for $1,000, Platinum sponsorship for the Cotton Festival.
We didn't have one from a membership from them?
I have annual support countywide economic development, which is a Fayette County, for $77,316.
There it is, Mayor. We paid that out of 237. Line item 237. Oakland Economic Development, 7316. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
I don't know why we pay that out of two different funds. It's basically the same.
I don't know either.
Well, it probably depends the way the invoice is written. If it's written as economic development, I would assume, but I'd have to look into it or ask Ms. Buller to.
And that is the way the invoice for the 7316 is written up, as economic development, annual support countywide. And then the sponsorship is written up as sponsorship for the 1,000.
So that's actually what they call in the economic. That's their membership, right?
It appears to be. Yes.
That I would only assume, because it doesn't say membership, but
I'll find out. I can find that one out real easy. Because I know how that was voted on.
I'm good with it. I think it's fair to come out of there. I think basically both of them could, to be honest with you.
Okay,
it's the easy one to find out. I'd make a call tomorrow and find that one out.
Well, and I can check with Ms. Dowell as well, Alderman Cates, unless you just want to do it.
I mean, I don't care. It's just that one is so simple to find out.
Okay. So we
don't understand, because I knew it 2 or 3 years ago, the board voted to split that in half to join both chambers. And it wouldn't be right to still have one and not the other, the way it was voted. So it has to be followed by the vote.
Well, no, and I agree. So we okay to move forward to old business at this point, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. First item under old business is public hearing on the rezoning of Chickasaw property on Chickasaw Ridge. So I am going to open up the public hearing. If there is anyone from the public on the phone that would like to speak to this rezoning, and basically it's rezoning property behind past Walmart from light industrial back to what it originally was, which was residential zoning, and not apartments, but single dwelling family lots. So with that, it's open if there's anyone on the phone that cares to speak to that rezoning.
Mr. Mayor, this is David Bray with the Bray firm. I'm here with Louis Rickey, part of the development team, and I just want to let you know that we are on the call and happy to answer any questions that anybody might have on this.
Thank you, Mr. Bray. Anyone out there care to speak? I'll extend it one more time before we close the public hearing. Just in case someone's having trouble getting off mute. Okay, I'm going to go ahead then, since I don't hear any movement, and close the public hearing.
Hey.
So continuing.
Is it open for discussion?
Well, that was public hearing for the public. Now we'll actually come to the second reading. Is there something, Alderman Cates, that you need to say before we actually get to the actual ordinance itself?
Is this the same property that went from commercial to residential, and from residential to commercial, or back to residential? Is this the same property?
Well, it was currently zoned light industrial or light commercial, and they're requesting it be changed back to residential.
I thought it was changed to residential.
Well, we completed the first reading. This is the second reading because we didn't bring it to the board in March because of the circumstance of the meeting and not being able to have the public in there.
Okay, that's what confused me then.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward and ask for a motion to hear the second and final reading of Ordinance 2003, an ordinance of the Town of Oakland to consider the rezoning of property on Chickasaw Ridge.
Motion.
Motion by Alderman Rector. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is that Alderman Duncan?
Yes.
Okay, and the floor is open for discussion, Alderman.
Yeah, my main concern is that they would have something and be transparent, notifying them that they were close to a sewage system before they bought the house. Do they have anything in place that they are going to disclose on that? That was my request.
That was brought up in a planning meeting too, Ken. I brought it up specifically in a planning meeting.
Is this Vice Mayor?
Yes, it is.
Vice Mayor, this is Louis Rickey. I represent the developer. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention again. And I spoke with the city attorney a couple of days ago, or maybe even yesterday, and we figured out, or I figured out, or I thought the best way to notify the lot buyer is when they went to pull the permit, maybe to buy to build a house, that we have some type of mechanism that would inform them at that time. And I felt like that was the best way to do it. And I just wanted to know your thoughts about that, sir.
It is, but I'm concerned if we pass this, it wouldn't be a requirement unless we put something in writing that would require it.
You could put it in your motion that to make it public record that when a building permit is pulled in this subdivision, that the lot buyer would have to be notified that there was a sewer lagoon adjacent to this property.
I don't mean to intervene. Ken, I don't mean to intervene here, but I don't think the lot buyer, which would be the builder, would be the person that you're trying to protect. You're trying to protect the consumer, not the home builder.
That's correct.
I like to just get something in writing that would protect the town, so they couldn't come back on the town and say that the town was aware of this odor before they bought that. That's what my problem is.
Maybe we can add a statement. I'm sorry, this is David Bray again. We can add a statement to the plat that states that and goes with the protective covenants. All buyers get a copy of the protective covenants at their closing, and so the town would be indemnified by that statement being included with the covenant.
Can that be on the final? Hey, Mr. Mayor. Mayor,
Uh-huh.
Can that be on the final plot before it's signed before the board that the town wouldn't be reliable for that?
Well, we could have the indemnification that Mr. Bray mentioned on the final plat, and when they bring it back to the planning commission, we can make sure it's there. If that's what you mean.
I'm saying.
Yeah, that's not uncommon to have that type of information in the notes on the plat.
Yeah, that was my thought of doing it both ways, because I'm just looking at clearing the town from a lawsuit down the road.
We have no problem with that, sir, at all.
That the town let somebody do that, knowing that that odor was there, and bypass them and come back on the town. That's what I'm trying to clear out.
Attorney Minor, are you still with us?
I'm here, and I was going to let the discussion take place and add that I did talk to Mr. Rickey yesterday or a day before. Certainly, by adding the language to the plat would be a good idea. I also agree with that having some language where maybe you guys could include it in your motion, added to the building permits for that subdivision, would be an extra layer of protection for the town.
That's what I'm saying.
But it's like Mr. Walter said, the builder don't care. They don't live there. They're just building the house. I know it would protect you that way too, because if you approve this and the builder buys these lots to develop and it wasn't disclosed, but I think it needs to be disclosed on both ends. I think it needs to be disclosed to the builder, and then I think it needs to be disclosed to the home buyer as well.
Right, but I mean, if the builder is building a custom, I mean, they're building really for a property owner anyway. Are most of these going to be spec homes, Mr. Ricky?
Yes, sir, they will be.
Okay. So Walter's point is well taken.
So, Attorney Minor, if I could ask a question, as far as liability or that sort of thing, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, a real estate agent or a realtor is responsible for providing the covenants when a house is sold. Would that realtor have less liability than the town, or would they have more of ensuring that the proper documentation went with it?
Well, I just think that if there's language on that plat that has that issue addressed, and that includes language that requires a copy of the protective covenants to be provided to the purchaser at closing, I think that you've got, the closing attorney is going to have a title abstractor that's going to provide him or her with that abstract. The title attorney is going to know to provide those covenants to the buyer. Hopefully, a good experienced real estate agent will have those covenants to provide as well. So there probably will be multiple opportunities for that property owner to have a copy of the covenants. But certainly having that language on the plat itself, when that plat gets pulled by that title abstractor and sent over to the closing attorney, everybody's going to be on notice at that point. So that's probably the best way to protect the town.
Well, we can see that it's put on the plat. Just two of us on the planning board.
And if I heard Mr. Bray correctly, he doesn't have a problem with going that way.
We do not.
Be on the plat.
Yeah, we're agreeable to adding that to the plat.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Attorney Myers.
I brought that up when they came to the planning board before. They told them that we just spent money on that pond over there to try to make some of that odor go away, but the town couldn't just keep spending to satisfy people that knows it's already there. That was brought to their attention.
Well, I'll make a motion to pass this second reading contingent upon the fact that it's put on the plat and full disclosure about it being next door to a sewage treatment plant.
Well, Ken, it'll come back to the board after it goes back to the planning board. It'll have to come back to us for final anyway.
Okay, so we've got a motion on the table to approve with the contingency that the language is added to the plat about the lagoon system next door. Do I have a second?
Second.
You already have a second. On the record, he first, and then I second. Then Ken, he with the extension.
Okay. So we've got a second by Alderman Rector. Is that what I heard?
No.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm assuming that's all four and it's unanimous. If not, please speak up. All right. This does pass. Mr. Ritchie, Mr. Bray, thank you for your time. And we're ready to sign this ordinance and move forward with the rezoning.
Mayor, this is Louis Rickey. I just want to thank the Vice Mayor and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, you and your staff, and City Attorney Minor. And we look forward to working with you in the future. And we'll be good neighbors.
Thanks, sir.
And Mayor, for the record, we executed your sewer agreement today that Mr. Minor prepared and delivered it back to City Hall. So I think Yvonne has it. So I just want to let you know that that's behind us, too.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Rickey, I appreciate that very much. This is Tom Minor. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Tom.
And thank you guys so much for figuring out how to handle this public hearing and having attended numerous of these in the last couple of weeks. You guys are doing a better job than a lot.
Thank you. Just for the board, what Mr. Ritchie was talking about, there's an easement for some sewer work we're doing that we needed across some of their property. And so they were able to take care of that without a lot of time and effort. I think they just received it earlier this week, and we've got that out of the way. So it's one out of the way to change that water main going back to the pipe going back to the Loosahachie. So that's a good thing.
Okay.
All right, so we'll continue forward. Next is new business. We've got Resolution 2023. Do I have a motion to consider Resolution 2023, which is a resolution of the Town of Oakland to amend the charter? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Vice Mayor Sutton, that I heard?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second by Alderman Cates. Discussion? Jim, I will just for the record say that we did, as we were going through this process, inform the citizens that we would bring this back as a ordinance. I realize that from a legal standpoint, we've had two different bodies tell us that this was a proper way to do it, but I did want to go on record saying that I would prefer to see us do this as an ordinance, but again, that's just the mayor's opinion.
I don't remember that. I don't remember telling them that. You may have told them that, but we had the option. There were some people, and it was discussed. Were we going to put this on as a referendum, or was we going to vote on it as a board? And the board decided that we would vote on it as a board, that we represented our constituents, and we would vote on it. That's what I remember.
Okay. Any other discussion necessary?
No, sir.
All in favor of passing Resolution 2023, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It does pass. Continuing forward.
Could we have a head count on that, please?
Well, there's all yays and no nays, but nobody's voting no, so that would be 4.
Fine. Go ahead.
Did anyone vote no?
No, I wasn't going to change my vote. I just like everybody but name. But
roll call. He requested a roll call vote.
Typically, that's done at the motion, but we will go through a roll call vote. I mean, everyone has voted yes. Alderman Duncan on Resolution 2023, yay? Yay. Alderman Rector?
Yay.
Vice Mayor Sutton?
Yay.
Alderman Cates?
Yay.
Okay, it does pass unanimously. Next item is Resolution 2018. Have a motion to consider Resolution 2018, which is a resolution of the Town of Oakland to authorize the purchase of a 2020 utility truck.
Make a motion to hear.
Motion, Vice Mayor Sutton. Have a second?
Second.
So was that, I didn't hear who that second was. I apologize. Who made the second?
Alderman Rector.
Oh, thank you, Alderman Rector. I apologize. There was a little distortion. Discussion?
I can't hear anymore. Something went crazy.
Okay, this is the...
That's a bunch of piping. Okay, now try it.
Okay, this is Resolution 2018, which was carried over from last month. This is the purchase of a utility truck for the water department, a F-450 or equal. And you guys had some questions, I believe, for Mr. Ellis prior to passing.
What are we going to be doing with this truck?
This truck, we currently have a Ford F-450 that's used in the water department almost on a daily basis, and it's used to haul the excavator around and skid steer and equipment like that. This is to replace that and upgrade that particular vehicle. That vehicle that's in use now is a 2002. It's 18 years old. Still a very good vehicle, but I felt it needed to be updated. We were going to repurpose the current vehicle in the wastewater department to pull some equipment. And this one's going to have a four doors where it can carry more men, again, once we get past this, social distancing. And it also has a deluxe bed that is capable of using for a gooseneck trailer, which eventually I'd like to get haul the backhoe. It's a little bit heavier equipment because, for example, if we have a water main break on Woodmont, we have to physically drive the backhoe all the way down to the east end of town, and that's not good on the equipment. It's not good practice. So that's what it's for, to update an existing vehicle.
So Ford was the only person interested in bidding this?
I contacted 14 vendors from all three big dealers, Chevy, Ford, and Dodge. We ran an ad in the paper. I sent specs to most of those vendors. The Ford was we only received one bid back out of this process.
Well, if we asked for the bid on the F-450, it'd be hard for them other vendors to do it.
I didn't. I sent the specs out as equivalent, and I put the gross vehicle weight, long wheelbase, 4x2, 6.6 or 6-liter diesel. I did the research where everything that I bid could be met by all three vendors.
Where did the one to GM go to, Jackson or Memphis?
I don't have the list in front of me. I may have it. Hold on, I do have it.
But if you put a certain size engine, all vendors don't have the same size engine.
Yes. The 450s or the 4500s on the Dodge or 4500, they don't call them 450s. The Dodge and Chevy call them 4500s. They had 6.7 or the 6.8. I can tell you who I contacted. If you want me to take a minute to do that, that's completely up to you guys.
I just like to wonder, the one that went to General Motors, Chevrolet, did it go to Jackson or did it go to Memphis?
Okay, hold on just a minute.
I just wonder why people don't want to sell their stuff. That's what I wonder.
I don't know.
I'd be dying to
on
sell
Chevy.
one if I was in the vehicle business.
On Chevy Fast GMC, I contacted Wilson County, which they had the state contract on vehicles. I contacted Jim Karras. I contacted Chuck Hutton, Sarah Chevrolet, and Jimmy Gray.
I got some information too that it was hard for them to bid on stuff for towns like this because they lost $1,000 on one to Memphis the first day they had. That they tell them they want one thing and then they want something changed. They never stick with it. So that's one reason you're not getting any bids.
Well, again, I contacted 14 vendors, so I did actually all I felt I could do. Ran it into Jackson Sun. Unfortunately, one vendor is what we got. And if you look at that price for this particular vehicle, it's definitely a good price. I had $70,000 budgeted for this vehicle.
I guess what my problem is I don't like putting out a bid and putting a manufacturer's name on it like we're leaning towards a certain thing. And I just think it ought to be a bid that we're looking for a truck with this much horsepower and this much gross vehicle weight rating. And
that's what it said. Go ahead.
What does it say? Read it to me exactly what it says.
The specification that were sent to the vendor states it's got a title. It's on town letterhead. 2020 utility truck specifications, Oakland Water Department, Oakland, Tennessee. We want a new 2020 utility truck, 4x2, long wheelbase, crew cab, full 4 doors, GVWR 14 to 16,000 pounds minimum, color white, 6.6 liter or 6.7 liter diesel, automatic transmission, electric windows, vinyl seats and floors, the CMTM deluxe bed, trailer brakes, price must include any delivery fees, tax exempt, include all warranty information. That's what we said to the vendor.
Does that have a towing package on it?
Yes, sir. It's what it's made for. Yes, sir. It can handle a gooseneck trailer.
Talking about pulling a trailer later, it needs to have a towing package on it.
Yes, sir. This vehicle is more than capable of towing anything we'll ever have.
Well, 14,000, that would be a 350 as well. I think the GVWR on a F350 is 14.5, if I'm not mistaken.
It's yes, I went from 14 to 16 to cover that and give some options. And just for information, the same bidder actually put in a quote for a 350.
What was the difference in price of those two?
$47,900 basically was for the 350, and $51,900, $4,000. You're getting a lot more vehicle for $4,000. Just my opinion. $47,900 and $51,900. again, this vehicle, the current vehicle is used almost daily, and it's still a good vehicle. Again, just wanted to update the fleet.
This ain't one somebody drives home at, is it?
No, sir.
Well, that bothers me that we'd have to ride a backhoe that far because we didn't have anything. Do we not have the trailer to pull it with, or do we not have the truck to pull it with?
The truck will do it. We don't have the trailer we have could possibly do it, but I'll feel much better with a gooseneck trailer. Be a little more safe, in my opinion. And that doesn't happen all the time, but it has happened. And I just wanted to give you an example of worst case scenario.
That's hard on equipment to run it up on the highway.
It looks like we need to be trying to buy a trailer instead of a truck. If we've got a truck that'll pull one down there, and we don't have a trailer that'll pull one down there.
Gentlemen, and I agree, it's good conversation, but we're getting off the subject of the truck. I mean, I know that Mr. Ellis is looking at the additional equipment he'll need, and some of it hopefully we can accomplish or accommodate in the next budget, and some we may not. But
I just don't like having multiple bids. That's what I don't like.
Vice Mayor, what can we do if they don't bid?
It's hard for me to believe that Dodge and Chevrolet, and you got a Zuzu, you've got more. It's hard to believe nobody wants to sell us a truck except Ford. It's just hard for me to believe that.
Well, I mean, if we didn't get the bids to open, I don't know why they didn't bid. I guess we could go back and ask them, but we followed the the purchasing policy and all that we're supposed to do. So I'm not sure what we're supposed to do.
You think if I got on the phone tomorrow, I could buy one cheaper than what he's got that quoted for?
I honestly don't have a clue. I've never personally priced that type of truck.
We run into this thing with a tractor one time. I don't know if you remember that. And we were trying to buy it on state price, and we wound up getting it a lot cheaper just by shopping it. And so, to get 3 quotes, you could go to each one of these people and tell them to quote you a truck. And then you feel more comfortable about what you're paying for one. That's the way I see it. Just take the state. The state don't always do what they're supposed to do either. If Mr. Ellis to take the bid on the truck, why won't he take their advice on the recycled paving? And so, if the state's word is always good, we need to look at using recycled pavement.
But again, you're misdirecting. I did not pursue a state contract. I equally sent the same package to everyone. That guy happened to be the only one to bid, so you're kind of going off in a
what's the
direction
difference?
there.
What's the difference? What's the difference in the state contract and the price you got?
I don't know. I haven't checked. I don't know. I'm assuming this guy gave the state contract.
So we might could save money by the state contract because we don't know then, right?
Correct.
It may be cheaper than what we got right here.
Could be.
Well, the key is we follow the purchasing policy, which is what the board has instructed us to do. The board wants to add confirming state contract as well. We can do that, but we've kind of followed everything that we've been asked to do.
I specifically asked Mr. Ellis when this come about to shop this. Let's not go through the same ordeal as we did the tractor, to shop it and get prices. I specifically asked him to do that.
Is contacting 14 vendors not a good effort in shopping it?
Getting a quote? No, you didn't get quotes from them. I bet I can call and get quotes tomorrow from them on a truck.
Yeah. Over 10,000, we need sealed. We require sealed bids over 10,000, not a quote. That's what I did. I requested sealed bids.
So we just need direction from the board. We're following. We've got to have sealed bids on this. Now, if we want to compare quotes to bids, it would be a new twist, and we can do it. But we have followed policy.
But that don't mean you got the cheapest truck just because you followed policy.
That's correct.
That's my opinion. I'm not arguing or jumping in, but just because you went the right way don't mean you got the cheapest truck or the cheapest bid.
Well, I don't disagree with you, sir, but we also have policy we have to follow to get it.
I'm not arguing that whatsoever. But I realize that.
Okay. So what are the wishes of the board?
You can still follow a policy and do it the right way and still come up with a cheaper truck. That's all I'm saying. Or can you? I'm asking a question. I don't know.
Well,
I know that he obviously got to pick what vendors he went and asked. If he picked the one in Wilson County, is that where he said? That's on the other side of Nashville.
Because they've got state contract for it, I believe is what I heard.
But he said he didn't know
Actually,
what the state contract was.
I don't know. Actually, what I did, I got on the internet and I did a Google search. Chevy dealers in this area, Dodge dealers in this area, and I went through those, and that's the process I used. I didn't seek out the state contract. Again, that's what I did.
Well, in the Kias, we posted it in the Jackson Sun, not the Falcon, not the Commercial Appeal. So there is a pretty wide circulation of that as well.
I was doing a follow-up on one, and I dropped it, but I will follow up on it from the rest of the way now.
Okay, so
following up on the Chevrolet, on the GMC and the Chevrolet for me, that they're not sure that it went through their corporate office. So I'm not sure yet. I'm not saying yes or no, but I will start making some more phone calls tomorrow.
Well, again, I guess the question, gentlemen, is if Alderman Cates, if you can find one cheaper, if they didn't bid on it, what are we supposed to do since the purchasing policy specifically says closed bid?
Hey, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm going to do part of what I was elected to do to save money. I'm not doing this to y'all. I'm doing it for me, for my curiosity to see what the truck would have cost.
Okay, no, I was just asking a question, though. But if you're not planning on bringing that back in for comparison, I understand.
But I can give it to you if that's what you want. But I'm doing it for my curiosity.
Is it legal for Mr. Ellis to contact a vendor to have them put a bid in? Or did that dealership in Wilson County pick up a Jackson Sun some kind of way?
Well, we've got the ability to send out, and it's not unusual when we have a project to bid out that we send it to vendors as well as publish it in the paper. As long as we're not just not sending it out without publishing it, there's not an issue with it.
We probably just need to contact some vendors then.
Could I ask a question? Could I ask one question, please?
Yes, sir.
How many trucks have we bought from this company already, the same place?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to look it up when I get back in the office.
You cannot even a ballpark figure guess? Where's the last three
No, sir.
bought?
I couldn't tell you, sir.
Where'd the last three come from?
I don't specifically remember the vendor, to be honest with you.
They come from the same factory, the same dealer?
Like I said, I don't.
Could I ask, are you implying that I would lean toward a specific vendor, Mr. Cates?
No, I'm not saying that. I just asked a question. Where did the last three trucks come from? New Ford trucks.
We'll have to look it up.
I'm not accusing nobody of nothing. I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, that's right. Where did the last one come from? Can we remember where the last one we bought come from?
No, sir. I cannot.
Again, gentlemen, we're getting off course here. The bottom line is we followed policy. The bids came in and we opened them. Even if it is the same vendor, if he's the one that chooses to bid, if we can show you where we actually published it in the paper and what we've done to get there, I'm a little confused about why we're even making some of these statements and asking where they came from.
I didn't say it was the same vendor. You did.
We could bring all that up. We could bring all that up right now if you want to. You want to discuss why these questions are being asked? About
Mr.
certain things happening in certain departments? Is that what you want to talk about?
If it's not related to this 2020 utility truck, it doesn't need to be discussed because that's the motion on the table.
It's about protecting the taxpayers' money that they pay in. That's what it's about. It ain't about a certain truck. I don't have anything against Ford. It's about making sure that we don't waste taxpayers' dollars, number one, on something we don't need, and number two, by not properly getting the right bids for it. maybe we need to change the process of how we're doing this. But if you tell me it's logical that nobody wants to sell us a $50,000 truck except one dealer, then tell me that's not logical. Yeah, that's okay that only one person wants to sell us a truck for $50,000. But that don't make sense to me.
I don't disagree, but I can't make these people bid.
Well, you can encourage them just like you did this one. I mean, if this person is getting all the business, why would somebody waste their time giving us a quote?
Again, the board selects it. Mr. Ellis or myself don't. We make sure that the bids go out, the specs are written and go out, and we get the sealed bids back in. So I'm not sure if you're insinuating that we're leaning towards one or not, but the board selects the ones that we purchase.
I'm saying that it don't look good by only getting one bid on a $50,000 piece of equipment. It don't look good. And I've made that clear every time we've done something on one bid that I'm not comfortable for. I voted against the other one bid thing with the fire department because I don't like only getting one bid. There's no competition there. There's nothing to compare it to. So I don't like that. And it just ain't logical. I'm in business. If somebody wants to buy something, I'm going to try to sell it to them. And I just find it hard to believe that there's only one dealership that wants to sell us a truck. And it may be the case, but I don't believe it.
Well, again, I prefer more bids as well, I assure you, but I don't know what to do if they don't bid. I know that the information went out. I know that the publication was out there because we got a copy of it. So, I'm at a loss.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time something got lost in the mail. I mean, maybe we could call a Dodge dealership, and maybe we could call a Chevrolet dealership, a GMC dealership. A Zuzu makes a truck. I mean, ask them, do they want to bid on these specs?
I'd like to make something clear. I didn't accuse you or Harvey or anybody of going one dealer. You made a remark back that if I was assuming that, I did not assume that. I asked a question of where the last three come from, and that's all I asked. I'm not accusing anybody or assuming anything. But I would like to know where the last three trucks came from.
Not a problem. We can pull those invoices and find out. We just don't have the information now. And Alderman Kate,
I'm starting in the morning following back up on GM and Chevrolet. I shouldn't have dropped it before.
I make a motion we table this until the next scheduled meeting.
Since all of them are off work anyway, I don't think it would hurt to table it another month. They don't need to ride in it right now anyway. I second that.
All right, so I've got a amending motion to table by Vice Mayor Sutton. I've got a second. Was that Alderman Rector?
Yes, Kate.
Kate's, okay. Alderman Rector, Alderman Duncan, anything to add? Or are you prepared to vote on tabling this?
Yes, if can think of it on the.
If the other dealerships refuse to bid on it, can we get a letter of refusal?
I'll get some comments.
I'm sorry, Mr. Duncan. I couldn't hear the last thing you said, sir.
Remember, for the last 2 years, the history of the purchase of the city have purchased vehicles from.
Okay. We can go back and pull the last 2 years of purchases of trucks?
Yes, if that's possible.
I don't know why we couldn't, so we'll do that and get that out. Alderman Rector, I heard you saying something that you were breaking up. I apologize.
No, it's no problem. I was asking if it was possible before the next meeting, just randomly pick the dealers that did not want to bid and ask them to send us a letter as to why they didn't bid. Maybe there's a reason for it.
That's a good idea.
Maybe there's something we can, so we'll know moving forward how to accommodate them in order for them to bid.
Okay, we will call some and ask and see. I know Mr. Ellis has got his hands full right now, but I'll get his list and I'll be glad to call and talk to him. Request a letter.
Yeah, I would just like to see what it is the process. Maybe we're not giving some correct information, or maybe they're just not interested. I don't know.
Okay. All right. We're prepared to vote on the amending motion on the table to table this till the next meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, continuing forward, next would be resolution 2020.
Mayor,
Yes.
excuse me, could we go back up to ordinance 20-03, the budget amendment?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry I missed that. I apologize.
Thank you.
My notes are not well. So we're actually to budget amendment 2003, be the second reading of the ordinance 2003 to provide a budget amendment for the current fiscal year budget. I have a motion to address the second reading of the budget amendment.
I have it in front of me now. Set those figures. General fund balance.
Mr. Alderman Duncan.
Yes.
Can we get a motion to get this out and then answer those questions as far as once we've got the budget on the table, sir?
Yes, so moved.
Okay, so I've got a motion by Alderman Duncan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Rector. Okay. Alderman Duncan, I'm sorry you were asking a question and I didn't hear what you were asking.
These figures, 2019 to 2020, and the amendment to 2019 and 2020 amendment fund balance is $3 million.
So
the one in red.
If the
in red.
Okay. So what that is, Ms. Bullard, you want to answer the expenses?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand his question. Sorry.
He's just asking about the expenses, which are in red. But basically, Alderman Duncan, our expenses are greater than the projected revenue, which is why they're in red. But our fund balance is still going to be, if this every penny was spent, we're still end up with $2.4 million in the general fund. But looking at our budget right now, our expenses are below the projection. Did that provide the information you were looking for, sir?
Correct. So the amendment would be $2,488,478.
Yes, sir. That's what the projected ending balance would be if everything came exactly as the budget amendment reads. Correct.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion?
We ready to go forward?
Okay. So are we prepared to vote, gentlemen?
Yes.
All in favor of accepting the second reading of ordinance 2003 to amend the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020 budget, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that does pass, so we can get that paperwork complete and move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out, ma'am. So my record showed the resolution 2020 as the next one. I have a motion to consider resolution 2020, a resolution of the town of Oakland authorizing the entry into a construction contract for an equipment barn. Do I have a motion to review?
Make a motion. Second.
I've got a motion by, I believe that was Alderman Cates, and a second by Vice Mayor Sutton. Discussion?
Harvey.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ellis.
Yes, sir.
Is this the pole barn that we were discussing?
Yes, sir.
Well, we were both pretty close to estimate, wasn't we?
Yes, sir.
I was on the high end, you was on the low end.
That's right.
I think they gave you a good price on that middle range, for my opinion.
I think so too.
Call for a vote.
Could I ask a amending motion to choose which vendor so that we'll have that as part of the record?
The low bidder.
The low bid, 59 something.
39.
30 something. 39.
39. Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem. So all in favor of selecting the lowest bid signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll continue forward. Resolution 2021. Resolution 2021 is resolution, the Town of Oakland authorizing the mayor to enter into a copier lease agreement. Do I have a motion to consider Resolution 2021?
Motion to consider.
Motion by Vice Mayor Sutton, second.
Second.
All right. Second. Discussion.
I make a motion we accept the low bidder.
I have a motion to accept the low bid. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, who was the first one there? Voice.
Yes, it was
Rector.
me. I don't know. I'm breaking up on my phone.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the low bidder signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consider it unanimous. We'll continue forward. Resolution 2022. Have a motion to consider Resolution 2022, a resolution by the Town of Oakland securing an audit firm for the fiscal year 2020 audits.
How many years have we had? Oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to consider.
Motion by Vice Mayor Sutton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Go ahead, Mr. Kate.
How
Go
many
ahead,
years
Mr.
have we
Kate.
had? How many years have we had this firm already?
I believe this will be the fourth year, if I'm not mistaken.
So you
Yes,
think
they
we save
complete-
one more?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vaughn.
They completed the 2016 audit, the 17 audit, and the 18 audit.
Do we feel comfortable going another year with them before we have to switch?
I'm not after that letter I saw where they're wanting some more money for some, what. I'm confused. What is that about? They're asking us to consider giving them more money. Can
Yes,
somebody
that is-
elaborate on that?
Yes, that is partly because when they went into the original agreement, they thought that we were going to have the consultant, Michael Walker, on staff. And if you remember, Michael Walker left in February. And so anyway, Michael was able to contribute a lot to things that take place in the audit. And once he left, then he had so many hours he had to put into unexpected hours.
How many hours do you want to charge extra?
We'll have to look at
how much extra money did he want from last year?
7,500.
Maybe it's time to look for another firm this year. They kindly suggest you change every 3-4 years anyway.
My question is, our contract with them, we don't owe them any extra money, do we? And why should they assume that we're going to hire somebody to do their job?
That's just like when he sent me this contract, he asked me if we were going to have a CPA on staff. And I believe that's...
reply?
I'm sorry?
What was your reply?
At this point, we do not have a CPA on staff. And that's what I replied.
Did we get bids on this, or did we just have them give us the price? And how much more is this price than it was last time?
Last time it was $28,500. This time it's $35,000.
They go up each year.
10,000. Yeah, I'm not for that. We need to bid that out.
Just to be clear, gentlemen, there was an email sent out, can't remember if it was 2 weeks ago, and I realize there's a lot going on, asking if you wanted to exercise the option for Watkins Uberall or bid it out, and we got no responses back in, which is why we put it on the agenda this month. So
well, we can't make decisions on emails anyway.
No, but Ms. Bullard sent it out, and you could respond individually to her whether you wanted to seek a new bid or to continue forward. It's got to come in front of the board for a vote, but that would have allowed her to, instead of
having... Yeah, but if we do... Attorney Minor, are you with us?
I'm here.
Would that not be a violation if everybody responds and then she takes action based on them decisions that wasn't in a public environment?
Probably the better way would be just to put multiple options on the agenda for discussion.
I'm asking you this, Mr. Minor. My question is, if Ms. Bullard sends out an email that's not open to the public, and we respond and she takes action based on our recommendations, that's a violation of the Sunshine Law, isn't it?
Well, I mean, the board can't vote through emails. That's correct.
Okay.
But let me just make sure that we understand that she wasn't asking you to vote. She was asking your opinion. You're still going to have a resolution where you vote on it, but that's okay. Now you're saying, you're responding that you don't want to fulfill the 5th-year obligation or the 4th-year obligation or opportunity to extend that's on there. And that's all we were looking for was a yes or no, not me, so that we know how to prepare the resolutions and set the agenda up.
I understand, but we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that in a private setting, which our emails are, and make a decision for her to move forward on something. And privately, we have to wait till now where the public can be a part of this call and hear what's going on. And so, I mean, that's what we're discussing.
It wouldn't have moved any faster regardless, because you couldn't have made a move anyway. Did you have voted on it?
No, but it would change the resolution that's on the agenda. You're right. We wouldn't have voted on it. It wouldn't have been a vote. But regardless, that discussion is not necessary. You're saying that you're not interested in moving forward. So I would ask at this point that Resolution 2022 is the motion on the table. So the best thing to do is vote no if you don't want to move forward. So I'm asking anyone in favor of accepting Resolution 2022 signify by saying yes.
Nay.
Anyone that does not want to pass Resolution 2022 signify by saying nay.
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 Okay, so it does not pass. We're able to move forward. Not a problem. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the consideration to hire an Oakland police officer. I have a motion to consider filling an open position for the Oakland Police Department.
I'm making a motion to consider.
Go ahead.
Vice Mayor Sutton, second.
Second.
I'm sorry, was that Mr. Cates or Mr. Rector?
Don't matter, either one.
Okay. Discussion, you should have the application, the information on this applicant in your packet, if I'm not mistaken.
I just want to tell the mayor and board that I reached out to someone that I know at the police department, high-ranking official that I went through Northwestern University Staff Command School with, and he said this was a fine fellow, as good a guy as you ever meet, and he highly recommended it.
I got a question about this. Did we have somebody to leave? Is this a rehire? or a new hire, or what? Not a rehire, but a new hire.
We had someone resign, and this is replacing them. Basically, a detective resigned, and so someone moved into that position, and this is to fill that open slot.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going. I got you. But I had that asked to me today. Was that somebody had quit or something, and wondering why you'd be hiring a new one? And I said, no.
Yeah, we couldn't hire a new one without doing a budget amendment.
Right, and I told him it had to be somebody. But I know the story behind this. You're right. You got me. You on your toes, Chief Earl.
Yes, sir.
If you got a leg game week tonight,
I make a motion we approve the application for hire.
Got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Continuing forward, have a motion to review invoices for payment.
Motion to review.
Have a motion by Alderman Rector. Do I have a second? Have a second to review invoices for payment.
I'll make a motion to review.
Okay, so you've got the second. We've already got a motion. So Vice Mayor Sutton with the second. Okay. Ms. Bullard, any information we need to see? Unfortunately, my stuff's messed up and I'm trying to find the invoices myself, but if there's something you'd like to say, the floor is open.
Okay, again, we are bringing Ralph Gabb's invoice. Also, we are bringing the Xerox invoices. And then we have two that were over 45 days. One was on the fire department with Print Solutions for $160. Another was for admin. It was connection cabling LF for $600.
Could you bring back the first two that you said for me, please?
Yes, Ralph Gabb.
Did Mr. Gabb work for Watkins and Uberall at one time, or another audit company?
Yeah, he worked for another audit company, from what I understand.
So he should have been familiar with town charters and policies, purchasing policies, and things of that nature. Is that correct?
Usually auditors don't come in to know the purchasing policies and etc.
Well, they write us up for violation of purchasing policy.
Well, he's not an auditor per se. He was as a CPA, a consultant.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve the Print Solutions invoice and the Connection Cabling LLC invoice.
Okay.
So I've got a motion.
Never get the answer on the other one.
The others were the Xerox invoices,
that's
which totaled.
That's been put on the back burner anyway, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
Okay. We need to make that clear and not pay that again.
Well, we haven't been paying it, sir. That's why they're on that invoice list. But
I'm saying make it clear that one's not included on paying them tonight.
Well,
no.
There's a motion on the table.
In the motion.
There's a motion on the table to pay Print Solutions and Connect LLC. Do I have a second?
All right.
Second.
Okay, so I've got a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll get those two paid. Next item is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
In a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.